Some people, they take their problems with them, and I think that's where Harry is right now. And Harry has not built as much in America as Meghan has.
And also when he gave that interview, sorry to bang on that, but to the BBC, he looked really
so angry.
He looked so. Harry is very emotional and gets very, very, very angry, and
he's a hothead.
He's very intense. He's got the Spencer temper.
Yeah.
And they all had it.
Prince Harry could be facing the final blow to his royal identity, and this time it's not coming from the press, the palace, or even his family. It's coming from the British government itself. Right now, there's a growing push inside Parliament to officially strip Harry of his remaining royal titles. Not just his Royal Highness, but also the Duke of Sussex title granted to him by Queen Elizabeth on his wedding day. This movement isn't random. It's not just bitterness over Spare or the Netflix series. Politicians are actually bringing this into official discussions because they see Harry's behavior, especially his public criticism of royal life, the military, and British institutions, as a direct contradiction to what the monarchy stands for. And it's not just a small fringe group. Several MPs have openly said that Harry can't have it both ways, stepping away from royal duty while still benefiting from the weight of his titles. They argue it's damaging to the crown's credibility, especially when he continues to make headlines from California with statements that spark backlash at home. This has all escalated to the point where legislation has even been proposed to allow the government to strip royal titles if needed. That alone shows how serious this has become. It's not just a royal family issue anymore, it's a political one.
I always thought to myself, what's the point in bringing up the past? What's the point in bringing up something that's only going to make you sad? It ain't going to change it. It ain't going to bring her back. And when you start thinking like that, it can be really damaging. And you always said to me, you've got to sit down and think about those memories. But for me, it was like, don't want to think about it.
It all started with a step back from royal duties, but what looked like an exit turned into a spectacle. In January 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced they were stepping back as senior royals. At first, people thought it was a quiet exit, a couple trying to find peace, maybe start a new life out of the spotlight. But that's not what happened. Instead, what followed was a carefully staged rollout of personal revelations, one after another. First came the sit down with Oprah in 2021. That interview changed everything. Meghan talked about racism inside the palace, her mental health struggles, and being denied help. Harry backed her up and called out his family's silence. The world watched. And while the interview won support from some, it triggered a wave of criticism in the UK. Many people felt it crossed a line, taking private family issues and turning them into global drama. Then came the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, 6 episodes diving deeper into their side of the story, with clips, diary-like interviews, and a very curated narrative. It painted a picture of betrayal, tabloid abuse, and cold shoulders from the royal family. But by this point, public patience was thinning. What was once seen as brave truth-telling started feeling like calculated image control. And just when it seemed like things might cool down, Harry dropped his memoir. That book laid everything bare. Stories about fights with William, losing his virginity behind a pub, drug use, and even killing enemies during military service in Afghanistan. That last one especially drew serious backlash. Military figures in the UK, even ones who supported him, called the disclosure reckless. It sparked outrage from both veterans and everyday citizens. What started as curiosity turned into criticism. Many Brits felt Harry had gone too far, not just leaving the family, but tearing it apart publicly for profit. Then came the BBC interview, and for many Brits, that was the final straw.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point. And the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything. I love my country. I always have done, despite what some people in that country have done. So I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK. Of course I do, and I think that it's really quite sad that I won't be able to show my children my homeland.
Shortly after Harry lost his appeal to keep taxpayer-funded security in the UK, he sat down for a BBC interview. The timing couldn't have been worse. People were already upset over the idea of a non-working royal demanding public money. Then he went on camera and talked about how unsafe he felt in the UK without security while still making regular trips back. Clips from the interview went viral. When Harry said, "I'd love to bring my kids over, but it's just not safe here," that comment landed hard, especially since he's living in a massive Montecito mansion with private staff and American security. And after the backlash from the interview, the discussion moved from public outrage to actual political action. The House of Lords began discussing whether Prince Harry should be stripped of the Duke of Sussex title. They're looking at a legal pathway, the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917. That's no joke. This law was passed during World War I to deal with royals who sided with enemy nations. It's been used only once against royals who supported Germany. So, when MPs started referencing that law, it sent a clear message. It's historic. If used, it could completely strip Harry of his noble title. They're not just debating it behind closed doors. Some MPs have gone public saying it's time to protect the integrity of the monarchy.
Now, Harry and Meghan have also been accused of hypocrisy after they restructured their staff, creating what has been labelled the Montecito Royal Court.
And if you thought the drama stopped at Harry, Meghan's under fire too. Even though Meghan Markle officially lost the right to use her Royal Highness after she and Harry stepped back from royal duties, some reports claim she hasn't fully let go of the title. According to the original agreements with Queen Elizabeth, both Harry and Meghan were allowed to retain the HRH titles, but were specifically not allowed to use them in any official or commercial capacity. That was part of the firm boundary the Queen drew when Megxit went public. But people have pointed out small things that suggest Meghan might still be bending that rule. One claim involved a thank you basket sent out for her podcast Archetypes, which allegedly included branding linked to her former royal status. There have also been whispers about business cards circulating in Hollywood that still reference her as HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. None of this is confirmed on the record, but in royal circles, even a hint of misusing a title is taken seriously. Why does it matter? Because HRH is not just a fancy label. It represents an active working role within the monarchy, a role Meghan no longer holds. So even if it's being used unofficially, it looks like a grab for prestige she's no longer entitled to. And that perception adds fuel to the fire for those who think she and Harry are profiting off the crown while trashing it. King Charles and Prince William haven't made public statements about the calls to remove Harry's titles. According to insider reports, Prince William is said to be privately supportive of the push to strip Harry of the Duke of Sussex title. He hasn't said it in front of cameras, but he doesn't need to. Behind closed doors, he's reportedly told aides that Harry's actions are damaging the crown and that the title issue has to be dealt with. King Charles is playing it even cooler. He's focused on modernizing the monarchy, cutting costs, and streamlining the royal rod. From his point of view, removing titles from non-working royals actually fits that vision. So, while he's staying above the drama publicly, insiders believe he's not standing in the way. But if you think it's just about gossip and titles, think again. One of the few clear rules for the royal family is political neutrality. They can't endorse candidates. They can't speak out on party issues. They're supposed to represent everyone, not take sides. And while Harry no longer works for the monarchy, he still carries a royal title, which makes his political comments controversial. In the US, Harry has spoken out on voting rights, misinformation, and even made remarks about the First Amendment, calling it bonkers. While those might seem harmless in an American context to British observers, they break tradition. Royals aren't supposed to comment on another country's internal politics, let alone criticize the founding principles of the country they've moved to. That's where the term title laundering comes in. Critics argue that Harry is using his royal status to push political agendas, while avoiding the responsibilities and restrictions of actually being a royal. It's seen as having it both ways, using the prestige but ignoring the rules that come with it.
You know, my brother and I love each other. I love him deeply. There has been a lot of pain between the two of us, especially the last 6 years.
A formal petition to strip Prince Harry of his titles has gained serious traction, not just among royal critics, but across the political aisle. What started as a frustrated push by a few conservative voices has turned into a bipartisan effort. Members from both major parties are stepping forward, saying the same thing: enough is enough. The motion gaining momentum points to the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917, the same law used during World War I to strip titles from German princes who were seen as enemies of the British state. It's a serious, historic measure, not something pulled out for petty drama, but for those seen as acting against the interest or dignity of the crown, and that's exactly the argument being made now. The backing for this isn't just political. Public support has exploded. The petition's numbers jumped dramatically after Harry's latest media appearances, especially after that now infamous BBC interview. The message is clear. People feel he's crossed too many lines, and the connection between his royal status and his behavior just doesn't sit right anymore. Strip away the royal titles, and what remains isn't just a name, it's a brand collapse. From Netflix to Spotify to book deals and paid speaking gigs, Harry and Meghan's entire post-Palace image has been built on the prestige of royalty. The moment they became the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, they were more than just celebrities, they were royalty on their own terms. But if the title disappears, so does the illusion. In Hollywood, prestige sells. Without that royal link, they become like any other public figure with a memoir and a podcast. No longer unique, no longer inside the palace gates. And brands know it. If Parliament moves forward and the title is removed, it's going to be a serious hit, not just to pride, but to relevance and business. We're already seeing early signs. The Spotify deal ended, Archwell projects aren't landing the same buzz, and media interest is cooling because, let's be honest, a former prince just doesn't hold the same weight in headlines as the Duke of Sussex. Without the crown behind them, their platform is starting to look shaky. Do you think Harry should be stripped of his title? Is this justice or just revenge in royal clothing? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this royal reckoning.